gonna get you. He's gonna get you. He's gonna get you. He's gonna get you. He's gonna get you.
The Boogeyman?
Oh yeah,
The
that's some really
Boogeyman's
good
gonna
acting.
come.
That's some really great acting.
Giving this movie shit.
Oh, he's
Not
giving
a
it
bit.
beyond shit.
No. No, I'm really
1978. You weren't even born yet. Give it fucking credit.
okay. Anytime you're ready. Good evening.
The Boogeyman's gonna come.
Oh my god.
Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to Three and a Half Gentlemen, the podcast where 3 to 4 spies are refined and intellectual analysis of our movies for our private collections.
God, you sound Asian. Yeah,
I sound Asian?
yeah. Good evening, and that's not a bad thing. It's just what you sound.
I thought
Good
it sounded
evening
like
and
Vincent
welcome.
Price. Mr. Price?
Vincent Price. Good evening, and welcome to Three and a Half Gentlemen, the podcast where 3 of the 4 hosts provide a refined and intellectual analysis of movies from
we
their
at
private
Disneyland right now?
collections, and one who tries desperately to keep up from the grave. We'll let you decide which host is which, but for now, my name is Sean, and with me are my co-hosts, Jeremiah.
What up, yo?
Eddie.
Are we going with this?
It's Halloween!
And Brandon.
Did you get it? That was my Michael Myers impersonation.
With every review, we tell you how many drinks it takes to get through each movie. Selection at the end of the podcast will rate the movie based on a scale of 0 to 5. 0 is the perfect film you can watch stone cold sober, and 5 is a terrible film you must break out of an asylum and kill your sister to enjoy. In addition to our review, we generally pair our
Poor
selection
sister.
with a cocktail that we hope will enhance the viewing experience. We invite you now to shake, stir, or stab the cocktail that we've chosen and settle in for what we hope will be an engaging review.
Oh, it's beginning.
Tonight, what movie do we have on tap to round out our Halloween Spooktacular? Brandon.
Tonight we're going to complete our Halloween film selection with 1978's classic Halloween. The Night Halloween. That's what you should have done, the music. After being institutionalized for 15 freaking years, Myers breaks out on the night before Halloween. No one knows, nor wants to find out, what will happen on October 31st, 1978, besides Myers' psychiatrist, Dr. Loomis. He knows Michael is coming back to Haddonfield, Illinois, but by the time the town realizes it, it'll be too late for many people.
For many people.
Many people.
Many meaning 3.
Can we keep this song on the whole time?
It's a good score.
It'll add something to the movie.
As we mentioned
my
with each movie, we try to pair the tone, feel, and overall impact of the story with a cocktail. Sometimes the drink will be referenced directly in the film, and other times the drink will be simply inspired the film. But tonight, the drink will be inspired by the one and only.
You. Read it.
My name's not on here.
It says, I have taken the lead of the cocktail.
Shit. It has. Tonight, I have taken the lead of the cocktail, and I will present it now. So, what do I have?
What you have is the Michael Myers Haddonfield Milk Punch. It's a whole milk full of like brandy and just
heavy.
honey. It's heavy.
It's a fit
sweet.
drink.
Tastes like
Tastes like
It's
sugar.
going to sneak up on you and stab you in the heart in the middle of the night.
That's pretty accurate. I'm not gonna lie.
if you want the recipe, just go to our website at thegentlemanpodcast.com.
So to give you a little background on our selection process for the second season, we're going to be reviewing movies that we, however tenuously, can link together by theme, actors, or subject, or season, a.k.a. Halloween. Again, we are trying to keep to our mandate
Is Halloween
review.
a season or is it a holiday?
I call it a season.
It's a season.
It's a freaking season.
You know, that's when we met. Me and you.
I know. We were looking at fake brains together.
We were
In
across
the Halloween store.
About 4
Cute.
hours
Oh, so
apart,
cute.
And I looked over and
And we said, meet cute.
and I said to Brandon, or I think I said out loud,
Do you have
I
something
said,
a little more romantic?
they don't make brains
This is a romantic song.
They don't make brains like they used to.
No, they don't. They don't. So we're going to stick to our mandate and
Killers
review.
in the store just looking at each other like, "Hey, you want to be friends?"
Is this? I was waiting for the joke to start.
My computer.
So to mandate, we're going to keep to our mandate and review movies that we feel have shaped how stories have been told throughout time, and even how we think they're going to be told on on screen in the future.
So we won't be talking about the movie straight through. Instead, we'll let our conversation flow naturally. That said, we'll be touching on different film aspects, including plot, characters, direction, director, or photography, or anything that might come up from the grave.
That brings us to the end of our.
Say that too.
All right, let's talk about Halloween,
God.
1978.
Yeah, sure.
No, what is it?
Yeah, no, it's 78.
Well, the movie came out in 1978.
Yeah, no, I know.
Okay.
Okay, so let's set it up a little bit. So we've got kind of an interesting little origin story right at the beginning, where we've got a young Michael Myers through a mask.
But you don't really know it is Michael Myers.
1963
Well, we
is
do
when
when
it started.
he
Right.
stabs.
1963.
She says,
"Stop saying that."
Michael.
Yeah, but you find out
Michael.
but when you're watching the movie and you actually see it and you're watching it in the killer's point of view, which, by the way, I don't think you've ever seen that.
Badass. I'm just going to say badass.
You've never seen that.
Does
That's
not
kind of-
save the movie, but it was
I'm saying,
badass.
It's too much, yo. It's pretty cool how you see it for the first time in a killer's point of view, that the camera's like actually using that aspect, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Wait,
Yeah.
I'm reading this. It says Halloween 4, 5, 6, and 7 headed to theater. How many Halloween movies are there?
So I'm going to tell you the history about Halloween, okay?
Let's have the history. Here we
Okay.
go.
Halloween first came out in 1978, and then the sequel came out in 1981 because the first one came really well and was just successful and everything. Then part 3, John Carpenter was be like, hey, why don't we just use kind of like a Halloween, kind of a American Horror Story. Like each new movie would be its own story. Completely bombed, failed in the box office. Then they were like, let's bring him back to the grave. And they had this whole story between 4, 5, and 6, or actually 4, 5, about him actually being cursed. Then it went H2O, Halloween,
John
That was
Martin.
20 years later.
20
that was,
years.
And that
So he was
Epps.
in that. Yeah, he
There's
was
an
in
L
that.
in there somewhere.
And then it was Halloween Resurrection, where Jamie Lee Curtis dies in that movie in the beginning of the scene. And then Rob Zombie did kind of his own.
You were the one that wanted to watch it.
And then they decided to go and actually reboot Halloween and actually go this. All the Halloween movies you actually know about, we're actually going back to the first one, and this is the sequel to the first one. So
the
there you
new
go.
Halloween that was just released last year or the year before is a sequel to this one.
This
All the other
1978.
ones
So you have
was
to
just a
like
dream.
throw the other
So
ones
all
out.
the 10 other movies I can ignore.
You got to throw
and I can just
all of
jump
it
in.
out.
Okay, I swear to
Guess
God, it's like
what's
Days
gonna-
of Future Past.
You know
We're
what's
just
cool?
Ignoring.
Let me give you guys a cool fun fact about this movie. I will never see any of those sequels ever. You could pay me money, and I'd
That's
say
not a fun
no.
fact about the
He's
movie,
6 years
Brandon.
old and he gets institutionalized,
Right.
right?
He gets
After
in,
he kills his sister.
after he
For
kills his
15
sister,
years,
for
and then he
15
decides
years.
He comes
to
out.
jump off of a fucking chain link fence and jump on top of a car.
He's 21. What would he do?
Yeah, I mean they let them out.
I'm
you know,
sorry.
from the hospital.
Oh,
They let him out.
They didn't let him out.
So something happened.
Something
He
Something
climbed
led-
the fence and
No,
jumped.
we don't know.
They
actually
didn't
what
climb the
happened.
fence, man. What happened was they were.
He's
out-
just in the rain, in the pouring rain. He's just like, I'm going to walk around this chain link
like
fence.
no,
dude, chain link-
all the
And then
patients
we
were
see
out
him-
on the field.
We
found- he
see
found a
him
way to
jump and
escape.
He
fly.
found a way
He
to
found a way to
escape.
escape.
He flew.
Okay,
he flew. We see
First of all,
over the top of us.
Brandon,
He flies.
you actually don't actually see his body fly. So
Yes,
don't
you do.
say
Yes, you do.
No,
I
no.
He,
promise.
You don't.
he climbed on the car, the
Yeah.
backside.
So let's start with the fact that you really don't see him at all.
No, you don't.
And one of the criticisms I have in this movie
one?
is that half the movie is shot in daylight, and he's in daylight, and he looks like a creepy neighbor. Hello, yeah.
Next to the bush, just looking at you.
He was a completely fucking stalker in the movie.
So
And it
here-
was kind of creepy
So-
in a way.
Yeah.
Going off, Sean, what you said, and I think this is actually the only thing I thought.
You got to
was
remember,
interesting.
this is like the Godfather
I
of all
understand.
slasher films.
And this
How
is-
about we do this? How about this?
Shoot, how about we save my rating until the end?
Yeah, 3.5 Gentlemen's gonna do something different. We're gonna say
We can't change
that
it in
let's
the
just
second
talk
season.
about the movie,
Okay.
and not like
What we like and don't like about it, because
you
that's I
can-
feel
you
like
can
what the whole
absolutely do
purpose
that,
of it is.
But let's not like drag it down into the depths.
But if it
do it with
deserves
your
to be
score.
dragged down, okay, fine. Okay, in that case, something fantastically neato was the fact that we saw Michael Myers, the
Remember that
killer's.
email that we got said you were condescending?
I don't give a shit, Ricardo. This is for you, buddy. Anyway, Ricardo, I thought that one of the interesting things about this film was the fact that we saw the killer's face, which, I mean, to my knowledge of bad guys in horror movies, which is not very much, we don't really see the killer's face, right? They pull the mask off just momentarily, and to me, that was an interesting moment. This is after he got stabbed in the eye with, of course, a coat hanger.
Yeah, at the end.
Of course.
And
Yeah.
Before he got shot.
and then survived and moved on into the rest of his life.
This is Michael Myers we're talking about today. He's ahead of its game.
You're right. Obviously, he's a Green Beret.
Well, he knows how to survive. He's been planning this moment for 15 years.
I agree
And
with
yet
Eddie.
he misses, and I'm going to talk about this later, he misses
I don't think
two stabs.
purposely.
Oh, no.
Two
No,
stabs.
I will tell you this.
I think he's playing the game.
not a very good stabber.
No, he's a terrible
I
stabber.
think he's playing a game.
He's been practicing for 20. He's in his little padded cell over there. Like he's
No, but before that,
misses.
inside the garage, he could have
Twice!
killed the first girl right away. But he's just like
talking
watching
about
her.
what he does with Jamie Lee.
And I'm telling you,
hold on.
it's a game for him.
Okay.
He's looking as like I'm just teasing these people.
He's
I'm-
he's actually a predator in
he's
this.
a
When you
predator
think
in this
about this,
movie.
man.
Let's kind of
Oh
set
my God.
up.
Please, Sean, tell us what's
let's
going
kind
on.
of set up what's going on. Let's set
He's
up.
wrong.
I don't necessarily. I don't.
Obviously, never been handled by a seal.
I agree with you, Eddie. Here's the thing: is movies in general. This in 1978 introduced a whole new kind of villain in horror. Jeremy, you made me sit down and watch this probably 2
years ago, yeah.
And I'm not a horror movie fan. I don't know if you know that. I'm a horror.
I feel like we've heard for the last couple weeks.
well, like you and superheroes.
Truly
suck an egg, Brandon.
Truly.
Anyway,
Hard boiled?
no.
Oh, that's bad.
Poached.
Oh no.
Anyway, so we were introduced to this new type of horror villain, which was a unstoppable force. And we kind of have had this type of movies in the past. We had it with Terminator. We had it with Alien, where you just couldn't kill him. The villain was coming and you just couldn't stop him. But this was kind of exemplified in a human being, and you didn't really know what he was after, and he was just terrorizing this town. And it kind of created a what Scream made fun of, which is a series of what do you say, Jeremy? Like
Well, you set of rules for like
rules
for
horror movies.
Horror movies.
Like don't have sex is number one.
Don't do pot. Don't say I'll be right back. Because you're not going to be coming back and everything. I think this is the Godfather of slasher films, man. Like this started a whole movies that actually changed genre and just actually did something about. This movie did a lot of things. You wouldn't have the Friday the 13th, the horror movies, Freddy's and whatnot. And what
movies we could do without.
Really? You
Really?
think we would do movies without that? There'll be no horror movies without this movie.
Well, that's not
Hands
true.
down.
There would be no slasher horror
There would
movies.
be good movies. We just wouldn't have the crappy ones.
Oh, I guess he didn't like this one.
Anyway.
Yeah,
I feel like
I get
I'm
it.
not
Anyway.
allowed to say what I did or didn't
Anyway,
like, Jer.
yes, you can say, Brandon. Just don't.
Don't drag it down in the mud. Because that's what you said.
Don't spend every moment dragging.
I
it down.
literally am going to tell you now. I hated this movie more than I've hated anything else in my
Why?
life.
Explain. 'Cause
Wrong.
You can't just say it.
I will.
Why?
No, I will. I will
ahead.
at the end when I'm
Oh.
giving my justification. I have literally a page of notes of how
let's
much
talk-
I hated this
Let's
movie.
talk about Michael Myers as a character, okay?
Sure.
So Michael Myers is a character. You don't
He's
really
a clown
know.
of a kid.
You don't really know where he came from,
Did
other
you get
than he
that joke?
escaped an
No,
asylum.
I mean to me, it's like it's kind of spooky in a way because you don't know. I mean, Michael Myers is like the epitome of evil. He doesn't come from a fucking television. He doesn't come from a cursed tape. You don't have a background about it.
Sean.
So
it could be one of us
Yeah.
sitting in this room. Could be just
Exactly.
be a psycho killer.
Who decided to don a Captain Kirk mask and paint it all white?
which is kind of scary because it's all like emotionless. It's faceless, man. When you think about it, I mean, I think the mask is pretty scary by itself, man.
So from a character standpoint, why is and I tended to feel less scared the second time I watched it than the first time I watched
Yeah.
it. Because I knew who was about to die. I kind of remembered who died, who didn't. But why
Who got stuck in the window?
But why?
She didn't die though, so keep going.
Why
did too?
Why
Not
was
right
there
away.
such
Not right there.
such craze around this movie when basically for half the movie he sat around or stood around and just kind of peeked around corners? How long were the scenes that he followed the car? There's
And
I'm not.
Don't get
dragging
me
you
wrong.
down, I'm just.
There's a lot of parts of this movie you're just like, what the fuck, man? I mean, come on. But I think at the time, there in the 70s, there was a lot of serial killers out there and whatnot. And they actually kind of like, it was kind of spooky regarding to like people being looked and stalked and actually being hunted. It is kind of a lot of ways the most scariest thing for a lot of people to experience. And I think that movie kind of just like, got the nerves for all those 1978 people, man, watching this movie, man, back in the day.
Michael Myers is definitely a hunter. Like, he likes to stalk his prey. Like
he waits for it.
He doesn't just
Like
kill
a
you right
serial
away.
killer, man.
Not like Jason. He'll follow you and watch you just to see. He wants to not just kill you. He wants to also like stalk you and a little bit and to catch you at a time where you are most vulnerable.
So yes or no?
In your car, when you're about to turn on the car, strangles you and choats you out when you.
in the backseat.
Yep.
Yeah.
And obviously,
I wished I was in the front seat.
Obviously, I guess Brandon survived multiple areas. I never knew he knew about this, but obviously, he just doesn't seem like he was scared at all.
Honestly, no. It was just the least scary movie ever.
Really?
Babe, Pig in the City was scarier.
First of all, Jameson Cromwell. What's his name?
James Cromwell.
He is a little terrifying. But let's.
No. I want to ask a
Go ahead.
question. No, I want to ask a question.
Yeah.
Because I had always been under the impression. Let me actually back up and say, I went into this movie with maybe too much excitement because I'd never seen this movie up until 2 days ago, and I sat down and I said, "Oh my God, I'm gonna see," AKA Jeremiah, the godfather of the slasher movie. I'm excited. I've been wanting to watch this movie forever. And then I sat down and watched it, and I realized, no. But I had always been under the impression that Laurie, a.k.a. Jamie Lee Curtis, was the sister of... So is that part of this lore?
It is.
Because she sure as hell is not clear. So here's my thing. One of many things. So if she is the sister, why is she not a little bit more perturbed on the anniversary of her sister's death by her brother? And how come, like, why? Okay, so if it's not then her brother, who's Michael, then why is she the target? Like,
Okay,
explain it
so
to me,
I'm
Jared.
explain it to you.
Please do.
One, she's not Michael's sister. They're not related at
Then
all.
why her?
Because when he came back to his house, she was the first person to come to the house to drop off the key, and that actually, in some ways, draws some type of excitement to Michael Myers.
So this is from a different movie.
No,
First one.
that's the first one.
The first one.
Because she drops off the keys to the father.
They're trying to sell Michael Myers' house.
Because the father is in real estate, and they're trying to sell the Michael Myers house.
15 goddamn years.
So let me get this straight.
No,
She
it's so
happens
weak.
to be the one who has the keys, and this is explained when.
In the movie.
In the movie.
Did you not watch the movie?
She walks-
Did you watch the movie?
You
I
did not watch the
I
movie.
do not believe
So
I've
it was
seen
right
this.
there in the
It
movie.
was explained
Yes, it
that
was.
that's why Michael Myers was attacking her.
Yes, it was.
Somebody said
no.
Michael Myers is attacking Laurie.
Michael Myers didn't say a word, so why are you going to say that?
Michael
I said
Myers,
somebody.
you got to understand, he came back home.
did actually say
it
a word.
even says on the
on
poster,
the night he comes home.
on the night he comes home, he came back home. She was with the little kid that kind of I believe Michael Myers actually kind of resembled to the kid
Yeah, a
at 6 years
little
old. You know, and it just like, that's it. Just snap right there, because that was the first person that came to the home, and since the whole killing of his...
Then how did this lore begin that Laurie,
So in
was
part
the
two,
sister?
in
Okay.
part two,
So
the
they just
one-
rewrite the story?
Well, see, and this is what I've noticed about horror movies, and this is what I guess my big problem is, and this is the same thing I have with It or The Ring or whatever you want to call, is that they don't really give you the backstory. It's almost like they save the backstory for the character for the movie 2 or movie 3, and they develop the character over time.
Well, Halloween Part 2 was just, it came out 2 years after this one, and they decided to actually add that little story that they were related. But in this movie, they were never related.
So I'm curious to see the 2018 or 19 one to see how that kind of
What
fits.
did Rob do?
No, Rob decided to put a background on Michael Myers' story.
Oh, I bet it was a zombie.
No, it's kind of ridiculous. It didn't really feel well, because the whole point about Michael Myers is that evil just should not have a background. Evil is evil.
See, that's dumb. That's dumb. That's lazy.
So here's my question.
You
too.
don't need to have a story, because that person's going to kill someone and needs to have a story. If
Yes,
that person, no,
you do.
Okay,
it's psychotic.
He's
Okay,
psychotic.
you know?
okay, Jared. Let me.
Then that's the backstory. The backstory is that he's psychotic.
okay.
Why is he psychotic?
It talked about
I
it.
mean, Hannibal Lecter is one of the
But
greatest villains of all time.
you gotta understand,
And you
he-
don't. How did Hannibal Lecter become Hannibal Lecter? Nobody fucking knows. It doesn't matter.
So
but
it's the same thing.
No, it's not, because
Nobody
his
knows.
character is super developed. Michael Myers is
Michael
not
Myers
super
is
developed.
hardly even
He's
seen on
not
screen.
even a character. He's
he's
a
a mask.
6'3" mask.
Okay,
talks
did
about-
you
It
not
talks
did you
about the
not
very
watch it when did you not watch a scene when his psychiatrist tells the background of the story that he met this 6-year-old kid, and he was trying to actually see what's going on. Then he realized that kid was nothing but evil.
Right.
I mean,
But that doesn't.
He stared at him from this, looked right through him
Oh.
for 15 straight years. And
You're right.
He was
You're right.
institutionalized.
my God. Okay.
What?
Jesus, where do I start? Okay, Loomis #1 is a completely pointless character. I mean,
Who?
Donald Pleasance. He's already
doctor?
admitted.
The doctor.
He's already admitted the
Why
fact
is he
that
pointless?
Because there's literally all he does is find a cigarette package in an abandoned car.
Well, he's following Michael.
And he follows Michael, and literally he goes off to Michael's house. And he's like, "Oh, get out of here, kids!" And then all of a sudden they run off, and he's like, "Oh, I did my civic duty." Oh my god, it was the dumbest thing ever. So here's Michael.
He shot Michael.
Obviously not well enough. So my question to you,
or is Michael pure evil and
or
can't
pure
die?
evil?
Michael has a boo
Here's
for us.
my thing.
Michael's
okay?
supposed to be the instant of
No,
the Boogeyman.
I
dude.
don't. Okay, here's something that I'm going to do, and I hate doing. I'm going to go ahead and back up Sean and say, here's my question. Okay, so yes, Dr. Loomis says to Mr. Sheriff, whose daughter is just cut in half or wherever the hell she is. No, I guess that was...
He doesn't know.
No, that was Linda that
He
was
doesn't
cut in
know.
half. Anyway, I know, but at some point he will. So he says that this kid is pure evil, right? He comes to him when he's 6, right? Or he goes to the psychiatrist when he's 6.
Yes.
And he says he's pure evil. And we're just given he's pure evil as the basis for everything, right? I want to know what the heck would cause this one kid who, and I'm not trying to belittle anything. I'm being really serious. He killed one person with a knife when he was 6 years old. What makes this person more evil than the equivalent of like a Manson or a Dahmer? Because here's what this is saying. This is the most pure evil thing on the face of the earth, according to Dr. Loomis. And yet all we get is he stabbed his sister with a knife.
And if he's that evil, why is he not killing hundreds of people?
Why isn't he in a straitjacket in a padded room, but he's able to go out in the middle of the rainstorm and somehow scale a fence, jump, he did fly, onto the cab of the thing and strangle-ish a nurse, and then she's just like, "Oh my god," and then get out of there. It's the dumbest fucking movie in the world.
And let me tell you, John Carpenter.
It talks about the same thing.
Please tell me.
Okay, why would Edward Scissorhand do the same thing? What
the hell are you talking about?
Edward Scissorhand's not a villain.
No, but some people say he was.
Don't
in the very
even
beginning
try
of
to
the
throw
movie.
something that
So
I like.
there's no background to his story a little bit. It's the same
there
thing.
is.
No,
He was. Stop taking my map.
Stop.
Oh,
Eddie,
the same thing.
Don't you do it.
Eddie, don't get
It's
emotional.
very equal.
Eddie,
It's very
It's
equal.
totally not equal.
It's very equal.
Eddie, Edward Scissorhands was created by the inventor.
we have a
there was a whole
background
backstory.
story.
Michael Myers.
The dude gave a 4 on
Michael
that
Myers
rating,
was
and
a
he's still
serial
backing that
killer
movie.
from his very beginning. Of some people are just born that way.
And I
Have you
get
not?
that. I
That's-
totally get that.
Okay,
Give
well,
us more.
then
Give us more.
we gotta-
Give us
Give us more
Wait.
for Edward Scissorhands.
Wait, time out. So
Who are you?
Who are you?
I'm Brandon.
You like it with Edward Scissorhands. Give it the same.
No,
with,
we do have a
Michael
background.
Myers.
We have a backstory though for Edward. We see
What?
where the
What do you
Just like
see?
we had a
Do you see when he was a
backstory for
child?
Samara.
Do you see when he was a child? No,
Do
you
we
don't
have
see
more
when
of
he
a
was a
backstory
child.
for Samara?
You don't
We
see.
do.
You don't see when Edward was a
I
child.
like the fact
right
that
there.
I like the fact that you think like being in a cursed video of a creature coming out of a video of a. Of
You
a
like that
VCR.
movie too.
But it's so funny. But to me, it's like you can't like grasp
No,
the
because-
realms of a kid who murders his sister.
Hey, that's not enough. That's not enough. That's not
He
enough.
murders
That's not
the
enough.
sister.
No.
That's not
And
enough.
then he doesn't say anything for 15 fucking years.
And that's not
The
enough.
first 7 years, the doctor
Okay.
and he explains. He goes, "I tried to reach out for him 7 years, and I
he
tried
had
to
dead
actually
eyes. He had evil
No,
eyes.
I tried to actually keep him here because I knew that this person was not able to be reached."
But Edward
Okay, but
Scissorhands
here's-
has
okay,
an inventor,
okay,
and he
but
just
was
shows.
in his-
He just
but he
sits
was
inside
in
his
his-
house
yeah.
and he cuts, and that's enough.
Here's what the problem is. Here is what the problem is. And again, damn it, I'm backing up Sean. With Samara, we have some glimmer of a backstory. Yes? Yes or no?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Damn it.
Very
Sean.
little. Very
little.
Shred. A shred.
We have a flashback,
Hold
though,
on,
of her
hold
being
on.
pushed into
but
the well.
At least you have a whole movie trying to find out why
Exactly.
she's doing what she's doing.
Okay.
That I will give the ring that. I will.
Yeah.
But what I will not give the ring is the terrifying nature of,
Okay, that's fine. But
of Michael Myers.
But we
Because
right.
I do think that Michael Myers had a special form of creepy.
really,
Yeah, I do.
He just
So-
came out of a bush. He's like, I'm going to stare at you
So
for a
I
little
think-
bit. Oh, I'm going to go
I
back
do
away.
think that John Carpenter had an addiction with following cars in his movies. I don't know why he does it, but there's a couple of scenes where Michael Myers pops out or he does things. I think the grave that he brought up to the bed was kind of creepy. I think the way he holds up the guy and stabs him through his chest with an extra long knife.
Literally, it's impossible
Okay.
to hold a body up with
I
a knife.
understand that, but
It's
I
also
think,
impossible to come out of the TV, but
yeah.
It's also impossible to have.
Yeah, I thought
it's
we were
also
the same.
It's also impossible.
I mean,
to
it's a
have
little possible.
Scissors as your hands.
The table's
It's also
turned.
impossible to have scissors as your hands.
This is the first time where you're not changing my vote.
It's
What's
okay.
funny is I don't like the movie. You don't like the movie.
But you're trying to
Jeremy loves the movie. Eddie, I think, is in the middle, and we all are against you.
I know. That's okay. I'll take it. I've been on this.
Oh, I
I've been
love
on the
it.
attack side way too much.
Okay, so
Okay.
let's talk a little
Can we
bit.
talk about the acting and how pathetic it is?
It wasn't pathetic. It was pretty good.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I know you're wrong.
Oh my god!
I know. You don't know you're acting when you see it.
So let's talk about Jamie Lee Curtis being the
Jamie Lee
daughter.
Curtis, one of the greatest actresses at that time.
I thought it was pretty. I actually thought it was
that
pretty
time.
cool that Jamie Lee Curtis was in this movie. Actually,
Yeah, because Jamie Lee Curtis.
Who's her mom?
Janet Leigh.
Oh my God! Who's that, Brandon? Who is that?
Psycho.
Okay, she's born and bred.
also only
She's
in
born and
8
bred.
Eddie,
She's
you're
only
spunky
8
tonight.
minutes. She's in
Yeah.
8 minutes of freaking Psycho.
He's saucy tonight. So saucy.
Let me just tell
so here, okay, my question. I have a couple of questions.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Please.
So once again, we have a movie where someone is fucking killing a bunch of children. Okay?
Let's talk about the story. Let's just move on. Let's not talk about like.
No, I'm asking a
just-
question. Where are the police? Where are the parents? Why isn't there police everywhere? Why isn't the whole
Small
I believe
town.
they're at
town-
parties.
Small town. The first
Yeah,
time it's ever
parties.
happened in the
Okay.
city.
All right.
No, it's not the first time.
First
Because
time.
he killed his
Different
sister
different
15
city.
years ago.
Different city. Different city.
Eddie, it's not a different city because
Different
no,
city. He comes
because-
back to that city.
He comes
It's
back to
jumping
his,
around.
his home house.
Yes, home house, but different city. He's been jumping around.
No,
It's the
he's
first.
in a state of
The
self-
only
But
different
nothing
city
else-
is
nothing-
the freaking
So-
hospital.
But nothing
Wait,
else has
wait,
happened
time
since
out, time
that
out.
city.
First of all,
Nothing else has happened since that time he's killed.
So to your question, and first of all, he was in actually like a psychiatrist ward type
Yeah,
of way.
in a different city, you're right. But then
Yes,
he goes
that's
back
what I
to
meant.
his home city.
Yes,
Have
but
you
nothing
seen
else has happened in that city.
Halloween 9 and Halloween 9.
Nothing else.
I've seen
So
Halloween
your
Nothing
22.
question
Nothing
is-
else has happened in that.
So your
time.
question is, where are all the parents?
Wait, hold on. Let Jeremy talk.
So where are all the parents and where are all the cops and everything like that? The cops are out doing crazy things. It's set in the 1970s, and the parents, they're out going out. I don't know why, but they're going out to on Halloween night.
Date night.
It's date night for some reason.
How sad was it that the kids didn't get to go trick or treating?
The kids
I
did
saw
go
kids-
trick or treating.
I
They went
saw
to trick or
kids-
treating at 4 o'clock
Yeah,
and 5
I
o'clock.
saw-
in
You
the
saw
noticed
afternoon.
that too? It was bright early.
My kids trick or treat at that time.
It's a safe time.
Shouldn't your kids trick or treat was light out?
Thank you.
Oh, in the middle of the freaking morning?
No, it wasn't the middle of freaking
No,
morning.
it
It
was
was
3
5
o'clock,
o'clock
4
at
o'clock.
Like 5 right after school, and then when it got dark, you went back to bed.
I don't know.
Because we have vampires. Anyway,
so
It's
That's
a calm
wh-
town. Nothing else
parent-
happened to
the
the town
parents
since
were gone.
15 years ago.
Cops were gone. And that's the whole point of Loomis. He was trying to make sure to warn the town, like, hey, there's this madman on the loose.
And it's almost also, let's not forget, it kind of gives you a heads up with that his house is almost like a folktale. It's almost like an urban legend. Like, oh, that house is haunted.
True.
Like that, it tells you right there that
Stop,
that no
stop,
one
stop.
that
Why
they don't
do you
believe
do
it.
Yo, take your wedding ring off,
I'm
goddammit.
sorry. But it tells you right there that like people don't believe in this. So it brings up the story right there.
Can we talk about one other thing that I
Yes,
think
please.
is
Yes, let's see how,
how
we're on.
fast was that sex that what's her name had?
It's the same amount of time as you.
Was
Let's
it-
go.
No, I Hannah,
Literally,
no. Hannah and I were watching this, and we're just like, "Oh shit!"
This
that
is
was
all
20
real time,
seconds.
right?
That was it. Okay.
It's real time.
And then he goes downstairs, and he's
Let's
like,
go upstairs.
"Oh,
Okay.
I'm sorry. Okay. Oh, wait, which sex scene you're talking about?"
Yeah, the very beginning.
Oh yeah, he's like, I gotta go, honey. I got practice tomorrow. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh man, he totally fucking did that whole thing wrong, yo.
Way quick.
I guess one of my issues with this movie, and one of the issues I have with most horror movies, is that they don't develop the characters that are the players, right? So one of the funny things about Scream as a movie is that you have all these characters who are developed, and there's an interplay between the villain, the scream, the voice on the phone, and the kids. In this movie, it was basically just this weird big guy. Like, I felt like it was the guy from Goonies who just came and like literally wanted to stab the street. Like,
Hey, you guys.
Hey, you guys.
Hey, you guys.
Stop having sex.
Hey, you guys.
Just like,
He hasn't stabbed no one. He didn't stab anyone for a while. He was choking people out.
choking him out, stabbing him. I just
it's
don't.
the same thing. Killing him.
It wasn't like.
Remember, this is 1978, the first of its kind.
I said that about Superman.
No,
you guys shit all over me.
I'm telling this.
Superman was god awful.
How much more time do we have?
Eddie, I'm just gonna warn you.
Keep going.
Eddie. Oh God, we have a half hour.
That's fine.
Eddie, you
It's
can
the
go ahead and love
Godfather-
the movie, and
it's
I
the
respect
Godfather of Halloween
you.
movies.
Okay, well, guess
okay?
what? I don't believe.
Put this movie
I'm
on.
not in the Catholic faith, so I don't believe in
Put
Godfathers.
Put this movie on and have your kid watch it and see what happens.
He probably would laugh at it because it was so laughably bad.
And you're
All right. So
anyway,
let's go
talk
a little
about-
bit deeper, okay?
Yeah.
So one of the things that I did appreciate was I thought that Lori and her character was actually pretty good. I thought she was admirable. She was smart. She was studied. She watched the kids. She had admirable qualities. So at least you had like a heroine who Michael Myers was chasing, who was worthy of his villainous. Really? You have a problem with that one too?
Yeah. She was.
What's wrong with her? What's wrong?
Because she's a nice girl. She's a good girl who has no social life. That we should just support her.
No
and
social
high-five
life?
her.
How do you know she doesn't have social life?
Well,
she's
got
striving to
friends
be
who
in
are-
college.
She was
She's
gonna
got friends
date
who are little
Ben Kramer. What are you
she's got
talking
little
about? She was
slutty
all
friends, you're
social
right.
life.
She's got little slutty friends, and she's a babysitter. I call her a loser.
It's the Garden State.
So
Natalie
wait.
What do you know about
So
her? In the very
you're
beginning,
basing
she's a
off-
weirdo.
I love the fact you're basing off this person on a one night.
exactly.
It's one night.
Well,
Exactly.
okay. What can
Natalie
we-
Portman, Garden
so I
State.
can make
I
up
love
a
her
whole-
so much.
Oh, in
Sounds
that
like
case,
she-
you're right.
sounds
You're
like she
right,
did her
because the
work.
week before she landed on the moon.
Who landed on the moon?
So far, she takes care of the
can't
kids.
mind her.
She might
She
have,
takes care of
obviously.
kids. All her friends call her the good girl.
Yeah,
Yes.
you're right. So you're
What's wrong with her so
you're
far?
supporting me. No, it's nothing wrong with her. But
Okay,
I'm just
then
saying.
instantly, let's move on.
It's sad. It's sad that we have to point that out as a positive quality for this film.
Go ahead with your negatives because I'm out of positives.
The acting is really bad.
No, the acting isn't
Oh,
terrible.
the acting is literally the worst.
Obviously,
acting.
you're biased too, Sean, because you're saying you're out of the positives.
Okay,
So let's
here's-
go on with just the story.
Okay, go with the story.
Just go with the story.
Yeah.
Where did you leave off?
I don't know. I'm on.
I think that she's at this
You're
point,
biased.
somebody's
Right now,
babysitting
you're
somebody.
biased. So right now,
I am
our
biased.
lead person is biased. So this obviously is not a true.
We're not supposed
true
to tell him that
accurate.
he's our lead person.
Yeah, he's telling the story as a biased
Okay.
biased
Okay,
Okay,
perspective.
here I will give you guys something positive that you can then spin off, and then I'll hate later. So this created a lot of the cliches that we see in movies from now on, right? And I know you guys did Scream last year, and maybe this is a good time to explore some of those cliches, like hiding in the closet. And after you think that you killed the bad guy, you just lay on the couch and pretend like it's all over, or that you actually can kill the killer. So you guys, riff off of that, maybe, Eddie.
I think actually this movie has a lot of references to Jaws, actually, and that's how I look at it. This is a person that doesn't stop. It's a killing machine, and it doesn't stop. I think the music actually supports it as its own character because every time that you know it's coming around, that music comes up, and I think that actually really does something different and that you didn't really see back in the day, especially like horror movies and things like that.
And I will say this: the score does have a lot of positive qualities. I think the score was probably the best part about the movie. It is iconic. It's got that a predatory feeling to it. Everything about it is very different. It's almost like you introduced a whole new, not only a whole new version or genre of movie, but you also introduced a whole new genre of score to a movie. It was very electronic. It was just different.
It was different, and like John Carpenter did the music, which is like this. You got to think about the movie itself. It was just this shitty, small budget type of a thing that somehow just changed a lot of ways how we actually see the film. In general, this movie changed change the film industry when you think about it.
It was a slasher horror film. Like let's think about this. Before that was The Exorcist, 1973. Right? It was just like you didn't have many Halloween vibe movies. Like really, what did you have before? No, that was not in the 70s.
No.
I'm saying this was a different with
before
a
the
mask.
70s.
This is a straight up killer. The
I
Psycho wasn't
gotcha.
like the same type of idea. It was like that was like obviously a different
So
Psycho
let's
movie.
go through here and let me catch us up on plot a little bit. So, Lori is babysitting Tommy Doyle. Annie babysits Lindsay Walls across the street, unaware that Michael has followed them into this neighborhood. Okay, so Annie's boyfriend Paul calls her to come pick him up, and she takes Lindsay over to the Doyle house to spend the night with Lori and Tommy. Before Annie can leave in the car, Michael, who hid in the back seat, strangles her and slits her throat, killing her. So this, I don't know about anyone else, is my biggest fear of
Just getting in your car and somebody being in the back.
somebody
seat
being in the
car.
back seat and strangling and
You don't
slitting my
check
throat.
your car?
Never.
Oh, I do all the time.
But what if I see something? So I don't know. I've done a lot of night driving, like a lot of hours of night driving, and my biggest fear is that like something is in the back of my car.
I think one of the biggest
That's because
fears
of this movie.
I share a lot of fears. something like when you're walking and something is on, like, you look at the staircase and there's something in, like there's someone standing up in the staircase, or when you were actually like peeking out your window and you see like a figure moving, just standing right there. I think,
and there was a couple of I mean, to me, the scenes just didn't hold up, especially when he's standing outside next to the laundry. The laundry, you know what I'm talking about.
Are you talking about, like, I think that kind of works pretty well because you see this face.
Jeremiah, it's broad daylight. He's in a jumpsuit and a mask.
Wait, are we talking about
Wait,
nighttime?
talking about nighttime?
We're talking about
No.
nighttime, the garage. When you say
No,
laundry.
I'm talking about the where the laundry's hung in the
Oh,
yard.
when she's upstairs and he's looking.
She's upstairs. He's looking down through the window, and he's just like
Or behind the
standing
shrubbery.
there.
That's the first time you saw fear in Jamie Lee Curtis' eyes.
That's
She's like,
true.
okay, she's like, what the hell's going on?
There's
now,
a person wearing a mask
But it just
looking at
doesn't-
me.
Now it's following
Well,
me.
and why isn't she calling the police immediately? And
She's a teenager and she has
she's
no
she's
idea.
dumb. Is
No,
that what
no,
you're
no,
saying?
no,
She's
no.
dumb.
Most
The
teenagers
first thing
are.
I learned when I was a kid was call 911.
This is
Stranger
1978.
danger.
At this time, it was 1970.
No, what I think it was because she
She's
thought
already
she
been
was
told-
hallucinating. She thought she
Exactly.
saw the person.
And she's already
but
been
she
kind of
didn't
made
see
fun
it,
of by
you
her
know?
friends. Like, okay, well, you're just scaring away guys. So she thought she already saw him a couple times.
And it's also Halloween, so people are wearing masks and
exactly,
whatnot.
yes.
All right, so fast forward, we have Bob and her girlfriend Linda. They arrive at the Wallace house, and after having sex, Bob goes downstairs to get a beer.
Can I
for
pause
Linda.
this there real quick and
Hold
say,
on.
no,
And Michael stabs him to death.
who in God's name walks around a house? I don't care if it's your house or especially a stranger's house, and you walk into the kitchen and it's pitch black and you don't turn on the fucking light. The dude deserved to die.
Well, I agree with you 100%. He was an idiot.
scared
and
Li-
just impotent.
He really was. He really was. I know. And she calls him out on it. I'm like, good job. Good job.
So my favorite is that the next scene is Michael poses as the ghost, as
glasses.
Bob in a ghost costume.
What? You couldn't get up your ghost?
Does that not show you the child side of Michael Myers in
No,
his head?
I totally.
He's
Oh, I
understand
agree with
that.
you on that,
I agree
dude.
with you
He's
on
still
that.
mentally, he's still a child. He still thinks he's around 6 years old, still trying to play that.
That's why he actually was looking at. He actually follows that 7-year-old kid in the playground and whatnot. Which, by the way, I feel like that's one of the creepiest moments of the movie.
He's stuck in. He's 21 years old in the body, but he's mentally still not developed. So he becomes a serial killer. Obviously, Brandon's never been around a serial killer. So we'll find out when he. Brandon is the first. If this happens in real life, Brandon's the type of person that'll be like, "I'm not afraid of this. I'm gonna go downstairs," and he's dead on. Before we know, we go downstairs, and he's dead
Honestly,
in the bathroom.
if it kept me from watching this movie, I would slit my own throat.
All right, so
but you believe in Edward Scissorhands. That's okay.
Michael
Cool.
strangles Linda to death with the telephone cord. Loomis discovers the stolen car, begins to search the streets. After the
Because nobody else decides to see on the side of the freaking car that says whatever the hell it says. I don't even care at this point.
nobody really is following the case here, Brandon. We've eliminated the police is 1978. Apparently the police.
There's one
aren't
cop
policing.
per
Yeah.
town. That's what we're thinking. And it's like adult.
I mean, where are all the adults? I want to know where the adults are. This is my biggest criticism of CW shows. Where are the adults?
They usually
They're
go.
always-
They usually go to the clubs, to the gatherings, the swing clubs.
So suspicious, Lori goes over to the Wallace house and finds the bodies of Annie, Bob, and Linda, and Judith's headstone, which is Judith is his sister,
His
who
sister,
he killed when he
yes.
was
but
sick.
not her sister in this movie. But yes, her sister in the next movie.
No, really his sister.
No, I know,
Judith
but not
is
her
only-
sister.
No, we don't know that yet.
Oh yeah, but I'm saying. So yeah, he just
So
literally
she cowers
just
in the hallway where
dug
Michael
up this
suddenly
huge
appears.
rock.
No, he's crazy strong.
Obviously.
That was the first thing I said when we watched the first time. I was like, how did he get that tombstone up there? Because have you ever actually tried to lift a tombstone there?
It's funny how you're taking this
Like,
movie
what? It was
as
like in his-
more real than other movies.
It was
though.
in his back
You
pocket,
ever think
Ed.
about that? You ever think about that though?
No.
You're taking this movie as
Because
like,
this one pretends
well,
to be real life.
Every
Edward
movie is
Scissorhands
fake.
was not.
Every movie is fake. So it's funny how you take some movies as fake and other movies
Eddie,
as
you
real.
are showing your true colors.
You are
Ugly.
too. Edward Scissorhands, you take it as more
It's a
serious.
fantasy film.
So is this movie.
This is not.
This is not gonna ever happen.
Bullshit. This is supposed to
Why
be
are you taking
a realistic film.
Why? Who
He's
said
an
that?
anti-hero,
Who said that?
goddamn.
Who said that this was supposed to be that? You said that.
It's presented
in your mind.
as such.
So then that you believe
It's
that?
I'm sorry.
Do you believe that then?
Wait,
I don't know the question.
I don't. I plead a fifth. I don't know. I plead a fifth.
Okay, Nixon. I don't understand the question.
The question
That
he's
sounds like
asking
Biden there.
is that is Maybe like, this is the comedy. Is this movie? What is this? A horror film? Is it? Why are you looking for believability? I mean, yeah, he can hold a tombstone. He can drag.
Because I think because I think that for a horror film to be scary, it needs to relate to us on a realistic level. I think the only thing in this movie that can relate to us on a realistic level is the idea of being watched.
And some of the scenes where
that's it.
Some of the scenes where he's attacking her in the closet or he's attacking his victims, they're visceral. They're aggressive. They're different. I mean, they are everything you like in a kind of a fighting. I mean, and I'm not trying to put
I know.
They are a lot.
They are, but they are done so poorly. Because, and I get it, he's mechanical and he's robotic and he is very, very much not a normal person, and that's what makes him scary. I do get that. I'm not an idiot, I promise, Eddie. But here's the problem, okay? Here's the problem, is that there is zero realism created in this film.
So
right? Okay, no, hold on.
I don't agree with you, though.
She's sitting there. Right, he has, according to Eddie,
he's got a mask on.
Brandon,
Brandon,
I knew you were going to go there. I knew somebody was going to go there
with a mask on. It's very. And
doesn't
then he
matter.
gets stabbed in the eye.
You don't know what he's
one eye down.
No, he's not one eye down.
You don't know what he's.
He's not one eye down at
know
that
what
point. He is not one eye down.
He might have a vest underneath. You have no idea. He stole a bunch of shit already from a hardware
store. You know what I love about you, Ed, is that you rewrite the movie.
They talked about he stole shit from the hardware store,
including the.
You did. You did. You just got to watch the movie, man.
I guess
I unfortunately did.
So
and
Michael
Michael
suddenly appears and attacks her.
Is it too late to call in a guest judge
on the staircase? No.
It's not too late.
The injured Lori manages to escape from Michael and tries to get out
by
the
not
door.
getting stabbed when he's
But
2 inches
the
away.
The front door is locked. No, it's very difficult to stab in that mask, Brandon. I'm going to get you a mask, and you can run around the house and try to stab people.
Will try.
It's very difficult.
I'll hit Eddie.
We're talking about in the closet?
Yeah.
In closet?
Lori tries. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. She then goes to the kitchen and locks the door behind her. God, this is written so terribly. I'm sorry. But her escape is blocked when Michael puts the garden rake on the side of the door. So what do you see? I'm sorry.
You can't. There's nothing
Dude,
good here.
Wait. First and foremost, see,
Eddie, I want to know. Do you really like
She
this
leaves
movie?
the house. She tries to go to her neighbor's house.
Right.
She knocks on the door. The neighbors turn the lights on, and they're like, she's like, help, help. And they're like, no, we're going to turn it off.
That's us.
That's fucked up right there.
No.
And then she goes back, to her house, and she tells the kids to run away, and she stabs
she wakes
them.
up for the little boy, like, wake up, let me in.
Oh, yeah, wake up. And
First off, that's where she fucked up. Okay, she should have went to a whole.
She sends them in this direction. And she's like, I'm going to hide in the closet and separate myself from the kids I'm bound to protect as babysitter.
Yeah, where? Okay, and
they're in the other room. They're in the other room.
No. Where is this? I am bound to protect these babies, the kids I'm babysitting for. I think I would just run down the street. I would have been like, you guys are on your own.
He was already chasing her.
I think she was like trying to sacrifice herself. I think she was trying to make sure the kids survive first more than anything.
That's what Sean's saying.
That's what I'm saying. I would bounce very quickly. I would have been out of there.
She's a good person.
Yeah, she did make like a lot of like smart decisions and whatnot, but it's kind of like again this monster presence trying to get you, and you try to get away from it, and all you can do is just hide, and the worst, even the places that you can't hide, is not going to save you.
And I guess this doesn't work with. I mean, it's why he gets rid of the strongest first. But how do you just hide from this guy? Like,
well, in the end,
this is Illinois. There's more guns than people in Illinois.
In the
small town.
But the thing is,
Small town.
But the thing is, the question is, what is the boogeyman? What is the boogeyman?
Not a slow-moving bad stabber with one eye.
It's true. Why doesn't he run?
Let's forget.
Why do we have to establish this as the norm?
This is not like a big town. This is like one street, couple streets, and he's attacking.
I said the same thing about this
Psycho
stab film. What was this?
Scream.
Where the guy he has to wear this dress. He's got a mask. It's very difficult to get his victims to stab his victims.
I never really thought about it.
No, it's a very challenge. He's picked a very bad costume.
Let's not forget that Michael is 21. Okay,
that means he's at the peak of physical ability.
Meaning that he can take a couple stabs.
So, but you know what he does instead?
Shots.
He walks slowly like he's an old crippled man.
You see that part? But
so when the camera cuts away, he starts sprinting.
I would.
Yeah. So
Obviously not.
That's how he gets around the house so quickly to put the rake on the back.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
He prepares.
So in the next scene, the next conflict between Laurie and Michael Myers, she stabs him with a knitting needle in the eye.
Yeah.
She played that. You saw that. She was like, "Help!"
Man.
No, in the throat. In the neck.
No, in the eye.
No, the
No, that
neck.
one, the
The
eye was the
freaking hanger was in the eye. Because let's think about it. The eye hole in that costume is literally this big, and she finds a way to stab. Have you ever tried to stab anything with a hanger? Because I have. I have.
Right now.
I have. Exactly. It bends with the wind.
So
I have to use that to clean out my dryer.
I want you to do me a favor. We never can do Terminator. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. We can't do that with him.
Oh no, I'm gonna watch it. I can't wait. You know why I'm gonna like it? Probably because it probably has some sense of realism, and it has some sense of maybe not.
My
realism.
God.
No, not
Oh my
realism.
God.
This guy he's all about a cursed tape that has realism, and if there's actually a person that walks around and kills people,
No, because here's the problem.
But he likes
Here's-
the fake tape.
I'm being
He likes the fake tape where
Okay.
somebody comes out of the TV. That's what his best.
But here's the
comes
fucking
out of a well.
Yes, out of the well, fake TV. Let's come out this way. That's more realistic
Here's
than the other
fucking
one.
problem. When a movie proposes, and I'm being damn serious, and when a movie proposes to be set in the real world, then it better fucking follow some real rules. Because if it's not, then it's not a real movie.
Are you suggesting that?
I'm saying no. The Ring is not set in the real world. It's set. In
How do you know
fiction.
that? It
It's
doesn't
set in
say
a
anything about that.
fantastical because there's a videotape that kills people.
Okay, there you go.
Whoa.
So you're saying, wait, in the real world, you're saying
I'm
that
saying in the real world, there's
not-
nobody can kill this many people in a mask.
No,
There's
that's
just
not what I'm
way.
saying. What I'm saying is, in the real world, if you're gonna say that this movie is supposed to be scary because it's capturing
'Cause
the
it could
essence of
happen.
because it could happen, then adhere to some reality.
I
The
don't
dude gets
disagree with
shot
that.
2
I
or
don't
3
disagree
times,
with that.
falls out of a second-story building after having a knitting needle stuck in his neck and a hanger in his eyeball, which
As
we
we
literally
know,
see.
did not go into his eyeball. It had to have been somewhere.
No,
it
because
got
we
stuck
see
in the
that.
mask.
No, because his eye is
Yeah,
completely
he actually
thrashed.
loses his eye. Actually,
His eye
you
is
see it
thrashed
from
when
the
we see
last
it.
one.
See it from the last.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is the Ring is not meant to be taken in a real context. It's not. Edward Scissorhands. It's supposed to be fantasy world. It's supposed to be this alternate
I get
version.
that.
But Halloween is supposed to be, could be, the next
Because it's
neighborhood
not real.
over.
It's not real enough for you. Is that what you're trying to say? It
What
needs
I'm
to
saying
be.
is
If
it
it's
needs-
if it needs to be, it has to be 100% fucking real. If it's gonna be a little
Yes.
bit real.
But
No,
the thing
I
is,
think that it needs
it's
to adhere
to
to
your
some kind of real
liking that
life.
it's not real. That's the thing. I feel like, when a person wears a mask and you hear the breathing and whatnot, and you actually see in the end of the movie where this person is gone, but it's not just like he survived. It's like that madman could be anywhere. That madman could be you. It could be the next door neighbor. That is the
You're right.
frightening
Those
thing.
2 points in the whole movie definitely could take over all the other shit.
No,
that
but
happens in
I
this
do
movie.
think in perhaps a better director's hand. I don't think John Carpenter's a particularly good director. I think in a
I beg to
better
differ on that, but
Okay.
we'll talk about it later. I
In
love
a-
John Carpenter.
in a better director's hands with something a little bit more subtlety, I think that this movie would have done better. The reason the thing worked is because you saw the Thing transforming and chasing every motherfucker in that place, and it was terrifying. Have you seen the Thing?
Nope.
Okay, great movie. This not so great. I mean, it's just not. It's not. It just doesn't work as well.
That's what you think, though. That's not all of it.
Yeah, I mean, there's some people that don't like it, and there's some people that do like this film.
Let's
man.
not forget that it's a movie. Everything in the movie is a fantasy land. If you want to pretend it's more real than the other ones, and that's how you take it. All of it's fake.
Eddie, the
No
problem
one
is-
ever says it's supposed to be a
problem
real
is you're-
thing.
you're not
it's
understanding.
a villain in the mask. Obviously, he's not real,
Eddie,
dude.
the problem
Michael
is
gets-
that
you're
you're misunderstanding.
You're
what I'm
expecting
saying.
more than out of
No,
it.
you're misunderstanding what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if it is proposing to be set in
It's
the real
not.
world,
It's not. That's the
It's
other
not?
thing. Well, it's not. You have a guy that's doing this superhero powers. Obviously, it's the same thing.
I mean,
he's a psycho villain that he takes bullets to the chest.
The guy picks up a tombstone that is clearly too heavy
obviously,
for him.
you're right. You
He
know,
gets
that's the
stabbed-
problem.
he
I'm
gets
thinking
stabbed with
this
a
It's the
is
same
knitting
idea
needle,
as
gets stabbed
Jason
with a
and-
thing. Yeah. It's almost like they're supernatural, and that's kind of what they're heading for. He also gets shot 6 times
He's the
by
Boogeyman.
Loomis, where he falls over and disappears. And this is where the film ends. Thank the Lord. And we can kind of go into our.
You don't like scary movies personally. That's what you.
Why are you attacking me?
Because you just don't like scary movies. Every
just
scary
a-
movie you have ever done. It's,
Hey, bro, I don't like scary movies either. They scare the shit out of me
Hey,
as
did
well.
I just talk good about Quiet Place last week?
Barely.
Barely.
I saw you struggle.
I want to shove a knitting needle in your eye.
Technically
Jeremy.
his neck. See, I did watch the movie.
Love, people, love. We love each other more. Watch the 2018 version.
I think the
It's pretty
most
good.
the 2018 is a good.
That's a good one,
yeah, it's a
actually.
really good one.
And that brings us to the end of review. Now it's time of the podcast where each of the hosts provides their score on our scale of 0 to 5. Eddie, can you take us through our scale
I
of
can't
blood
wait to
and guts?
score this.
And go with Brandon first. And
I
get
will
his,
be.
his 9 out of the way.
You get his 9 out of the way.
0, the perfect movie. Don't need shit to enjoy it. 1, a feel good first cocktail. 2, a happy buzz. 3, you're on the Uber or lifting home. 4, a rough morning walk of shame.
It is woof, because obviously we're
Yeah.
puppies over
5,
here.
blout out,
Woof,
shit
woof,
face,
bitch.
spring break drunk. All right, I'm gonna let Brandon cool down a little bit because he's obviously.
Yeah, I never thought this movie would just bring
Yeah,
the
you
fucking
gotta get
fucking
blood.
twist, but whatever.
You're the one that's talking. Sean, would you like to go first? Okay, Brandon.
Do we really want to do this?
Yes.
I'm just going to get the bad out of the way.
Get that out of the way.
All right. So I throw around things like favorite and least favorite things. I throw the terms around a lot, but I've watched this 2 or 3 days ago, and I've had 2 or 3 days now to seriously sit and mull this over. And I have absolutely no problem admitting that, in my opinion, this was easily the worst movie I've ever seen. And I'm not even exaggerating. I'm not joking. I'm not just saying this just to get somebody's goat, Eddie.
You said that with the Great Gatsby.
No,
So, so you
no,
keep
no.
saying that. So I don't trust your opinion anymore.
You guys can say whatever you want. I thought that this movie was absolute horseshit. I thought this movie, the acting was literally pathetic. I thought that this was a bad high school project. I thought that the only thing worth any kind of saving was a stupid piano music that John Carpenter did. So what he should have done was just simply stuck with scoring it and left somebody else the task of trying to take this and make it something on screen. Nothing made sense. The acting was pathetic. You have this guy walking around acting like a creep, and guess what? I've seen enough viral videos right now that could outweigh this as far as creep factor. I get that this is a Godfather, quote unquote, of the movies that have somehow made a statement for themselves. But to be honest, none of these movies are good. None of these movies are worth anything. So basically, that means that The Godfather's not worth shit. If I could give this a 10, I would give it a 10. I will never, ever look in the same direction as Michael Myers again. He wasn't scary. It wasn't a well-created anything. It was a piece of shit. It was the worst movie I've ever seen. And if I could, I would give it a 5.5, like I know some people did
No,
for
you can
all
give
the.
it
No,
5.5.
I'll give it a 5. I'll give it a 5 because you know what? I'm going to stick with what we've prescribed as the worst movie. And literally, I wish that I had a keg I could have drunk by myself and drown in because it would have been more enjoyable than this piece of shit. Eddie, go and tell us what I'm fucking missing.
I'll go.
Sean wants to go next.
You want to
All
go?
right.
I can go too, man.
All right, so I thought so I watched this movie like 2 years ago, and it was in the middle of watching sort of a lot of the older horror movies, older Halloween movies.
No, it's fine.
It was a good time.
Good times.
And I was struck by a lot of really good stuff we watched, and this one, I think I even said at the time, not my favorite. I think that he wasn't scary. And I think the primary reason for a horror movie, or at least the reason that most people watch a horror movie, is to be scary. And I think maybe it was scary in 1978. Maybe, him standing by the out her window in broad daylight next to the hanging laundry was scary. But now it's just a meme. It's just a weird guy standing out by the laundry. Why aren't you calling the police? There's so many different things you can do. Where are the parents? Why aren't we calling the police the first time he attacks? Why are we letting him to rack up body after body, and Loomis is the only one who's believed? Could you imagine the liability of the town if something like this were to happen? And then add to that, you have him carrying a tombstone that he simply cannot carry. Is too heavy for him. And then you have him surviving 6 bullet shots. Eddie, he might have put on a bulletproof vest, but we don't know. He's got very little backstory. There's very little plot. Basically, all we have is that he's attacking Laurie over and over again. That being said, I see in this movie a lot of spark. There's a lot of ideas that came from this movie that created a lot of other things down the line. I think that this, you say it's the Godfather of slasher movies. I've never been a fan of slasher movies, but I think Scream is probably without this movie you don't get Scream. Of course, without Psycho you don't get this. So I think that it did pave the way for some lighter, more funny horror movies that didn't take themselves so seriously. But this it took itself way too seriously. It just didn't hit on all cylinders. But at the same time, I think it has some stopping power, has some lasting power. So I'm gonna give it a 4, a rough morning walk of shame. I think that I think the score was good. I think that it was nice to see Jamie Lee Curtis, but other than that, there wasn't much to really praise. Eddie?
All right, so I like to say I'm going to compare this movie, and when I'm thinking of movies out there that we've done, and it's one of those movies that's like it's what you're expecting to see in this movie. I feel like it's a movie that it holds down as a classic. It is a Godfather. If you're expecting to be scared, it's not one of those movies. But it's just a movie that it's a slasher horror film. I like that it's simple. It's a simple plot. He doesn't need to have a background of 20 different chapters of why he's doing this. Some people expect that. I don't expect that sometimes for all serial killers. You don't need to have that. I mean, sometimes it doesn't need that. I personally feel like, it's not realistic, but okay, like all movies aren't realistic. Look at The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. Some people really enjoy that movie. That movie wasn't realistic to me, and that movie was really boring to me. This movie, at least, was somewhat more exciting to me than that one. That one was The Good, the Bad, the Ugly was like a whole hour too long. This movie was almost an hour.
It's pretty short. Yeah.
It's pretty short. So I was like, okay, if it would have been any much longer, I would have not enjoyed it. I really liked that it was only an hour and a half. I think that helped out. It get straight to the point. It was a movie that I feel like it was the beginning of a saga. So that's how I felt like. I don't really. I wasn't expecting like. It's 1978, so as how Sean liked Superman, and it starts the point of a superhero trend. This starts the point of for me personally, of
slasher genre.
Slasher genre. So it's the beginning of something, and that's the way I look at this movie. I do think it's up there with Psycho, personally. I feel like this has more of a better plot than Psycho, personally. I feel like that's how I feel towards this movie. I do like how the music, the score was on point. Also, Jamie Lee Curtis, she was the beginning this is the beginning of her career.
The Scream Queen.
The Scream Queen. I mean, like, there was little odds and ends of like, okay, there should be more cops, but like every horror movie, there should be more cops. So that's just like how the horror movie genre is. Like, there's never enough of cops. There's never enough good guys in these horror movies. Tell me a movie that, oh my God, there's enough cops in that movie. Never. There's not enough cops in the movie. That's how I look at it. That's the whole point of these thriller movies. So I'm personally going to give this movie a 2. So I like to give it a happy buzz, because I think it's a good movie that you should definitely watch and you should appreciate. Jeremiah,
finish us off.
I will finish it off, guys. Listen, it's one of the very first like horror movies that kind of I feel like changed a lot of like the way how we see horror movies, even to this day. And I know there's a lot of plots or a lot of things about this film that just doesn't add up and everything like that. I totally get it. Is it one of my favorite Halloween movies? Absolutely not. Is it one of my favorite John Carpenter movies? Absolutely not. I think The Thing is probably one of the greatest horror movies ever to be actually made. But what I really liked about this movie is the facts of this. It doesn't rely on CGI. It doesn't rely on gory kills or the supernatural or sparkling vampires or camp counselors or a person that evades into your dreams. I like the raw of it. I like the realistic of it because, it can happen to anywhere, any town that there's a madman that hunts and preys on people. And even during the movie, when you hear the person breathing, that person is seriously can be anything next to your next door neighbor. And I think that's the most frightening experience. To me, I believe that holds up very much. I think John Carpenter's score is actually legendary. I think he's done something amazing. And I think a lot of films tried to implement what this movie did, back in the day. Is it a perfect film? Fuck no. Is it a 0? Fuck no. But you got to give it respect for what it is, and I think it was done really well. I mean, is the acting Oscar worthy? No. But what horror movie has great acting and whatnot and scary, except for Silence of the Lambs or whatnot? But most of the horror movies are kind of dumb. As they're trying to get away from the killer, they're going upstairs where they should have been going out the door and everything like that. I mean, it's just how it is. And I actually think this movie was pretty dope, and I actually really enjoy the crap of it. So for me, I'm with Eddie, man. It's a happy buzz. 2 right here. So,
all right, Eddie, when we combine those scores and divide them by 4, what does Halloween get us? A 3.2.
Yes, it's divided by 4. It's a 3.25.
Tell me it's at least worse than Point Break.
I don't think so. I personally think it's better than Point Break.
I personally think that you think it's better than Psycho, which is upsetting.
I think this movie is 3.25.
Yeah.
3.25. I think this movie is better than
3.25.
Yeah.
This is kind of fucking funny.
I think it's better than Twilight, personally.
So where does it put us on the list, Jeremy?
So if you add up all the scores and you put it on the list, it's actually tied with it. A 3.25. It's actually better than Point Break.
What?
Yeah.
I enjoyed Point Break way more than this
And
one.
actually, this is 40.
I should have.
This is 40 is actually better than all those other movies. Yeah.
So it's toward the bottom.
It's towards the bottom. Yeah. It's with it 3.25.
All right, good.
A little bit below average movie.
Oh, no, it's just,
A little bit below average movie.
I mean, it's 1.25 below average movie. All right, if you enjoyed our podcast,
no, not really. It's 0.75 below average. 2.5 is average movie.
I can't do math.
I can't do math either.
All right, if you enjoyed our podcast or a fan, we ask that you please subscribe wherever you're listening and leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. Let's get some positive emails in for Brandon. He had a rough night tonight, so if you're
Bring it on, Ricardo.
Anyway, gentlemen, thank you very much for this podcast. We'll see you. So next week, maybe we have something coming up, or
in a few weeks, we might have a little something up our sleeves, my friends.
But as we wind down season 2, we ask you please share us with your friends as much as you can.
Yep.
Give us some word of mouth. We've got some shout outs. Eddie, do you want to shout out to
Rhode Island? Thank you guys. Also, Massachusetts, Boston. I want to say thank you.
Boston, what's up?
Yeah, and also Wichita,
Honolulu, Hawaii.
No, Wichita, Kansas. Thank you guys.
Wichita, Kansas.
Yes, thank you.
Very good.
Wichita what?
Wichita what?
Okay.
Anyway, cheers, gentlemen. We'll see you next week.
Cheers.
I have never seen you guys fight so
I
much.
see you next week,
On a
Brandon.
podcast, it's almost like someone said that there was an anti-hero involved.